Ladies and gentlemen, Marvel Studios' most anticipated film within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Avengers Infinity War trailer, is now officially out, and on this video here today, we're going to be diving in depth and breaking this trailer down alongside sharing our thoughts and opinions as to what we feel about the film, alongside breaking down several events happening in the trailer and pointing out certain things that are going to be coming in the movie. So again, if you guys have any thoughts for this particular trailer, I highly encourage you guys to go ahead and post your comments down below as to what you guys believe is going to happen in this film, as this is, if anything, the culmination of 10 years worth of work in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So without wasting any more time, let us go ahead and dive into the Avengers Infinity War trailer. And again, if you guys are new to this channel, consider punching that subscribe button, leave a like down below. As you guys can see, we start the trailer off somewhere out in space, and it's not really confirmed as to what planet this is, which I really doubt it's actually Earth, but of course we see this unknown planet here, which I do think is going to play a very key role in this film as we transition into the next shot here, and it looks like Tony Stark is just seemingly hurt. He's either dumbfounded or he's puzzled. He seems to be very troubled, and as we just noted, it looks like he might be on the exact planet in which we just saw, and all around him we see debris, we see remnants of a spaceship, so we don't really know what's going on, but he seems to be defeated. He seems to be at a loss and maybe hurt, as I do believe early on it's possible that Tony Stark may have encountered Thanos before anybody else, but as you guys can see, it looks like he's just really at a loss for words as we transition over here, and we see Bruce Banner. Now this is actually the scene from in which is going to follow Thor Ragnarok, because if you guys haven't seen Thor Ragnarok, this exact scene having to be shown here with Doctor Strange does follow the continuated note from Thor Ragnarok. So it looks like Mark Ruffalo, or at least Bruce Banner, can revert back into his human form, as it was pretty much hinted that in the Thor Ragnarok film he wasn't able to do so anymore, but it looks like he actually reverted back into his human form, and it looks like he's like lodged into like this little crater. He may have came crashing through something, so either way he's found by Doctor Strange, and as you guys can see in the background, there's a giant hole in what seemingly is a building or some sort of construct. So either way, they find each other, and the recruitment process happens then. So as we transition forward from here, we get to see how this is really wonky. Now, we have Scarlet Witch and what looks to be the Vision based on the obvious gem in his forehead. This is going to possibly be some sort of a dream sequence, perhaps. I really doubt that the Vision is going to mask himself, or at least take the form of an actual human body. It's very possible that maybe this is not a dream sequence, but obviously there is some sort of a connection between Scarlet Witch and the Vision scene here. So my prognostication for this one is I think that this is some sort of a dream sequence. I really doubt that this is anything involving something in the real world, but then again, it's the world of Marvel, so anything can happen. So as we transition forward, we get to see how Thor is on board a ship, and as we move forward from here, now this is very interesting to note. As you guys can see all the way to the left, it looks like that character are either one of two people. Either A, it's Captain America, or B, it's Black Panther. Now, judging based on the background and the overall detail, it looks like perhaps maybe this is going to involve something with Black Panther, and obviously we get to see the Hulkbuster arm from the second Avengers film, in which Bruce Banner had fought Tony Stark in the form of Iron Man versus, Hulkbuster, of course. So maybe perhaps, Mark Ruffalo, or at least Bruce Banner here, is either walking on by and stumbling upon this technology, or maybe he even returns the arm to begin with. But either way, it's really cool to note how we get to see Bruce Banner and the Hulkbuster arm like side by side. And I really do believe that all the way to the left, it's one of two characters based on their overall detail of their suits. And I think it's either going to be Black Panther or, of course, Captain America. So as we transition, obviously enough, we have not Scarlet Witch, but Black Widow, which she looks fantastic. I think at least she shouldn't have cut her hair. That's just me, of course, but either way, she looks to be locked, loaded, and ready. And as we transition forward, obviously the cinematic opening here. Now, it says right here, which I find to be very interesting, my secrets, and I think it says either revealed or it's coming. As you guys can see in text right there, my secret, we have Banner, we have Tony as Iron Man. Pretty cool opening. Obviously all of the Avengers having to be shown, Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, Captain America, as we transition early on in the beginning. Now, obviously, we have Doctor Strange, we have Tony Stark, we have Bruce Banner, so they're all together. Now, something obviously happens to where, going back to what I just said, I do believe that Mark Ruffalo, or at least Bruce Banner's character, comes crashing through one of the locations where Doctor Strange is at, because if you look at the background, it looks like it's the exact same crater in which they found Bruce in. So I'm pretty certain that this is going to be the, you know, home place of Doctor Strange, in which Mark just comes crashing on down. And as we transition forward from here, we get to see how Tony Stark is noticing that people on the outside, of course, are running away from something, so Tony seems to check up and trying to find out what's going on further. As we transition here, Peter Parker, his spidey senses are tingling, and what's cool about this is as soon as he looks up and he looks on over to the window, we have the arrival. Now, obviously, this is going to be the entry of the quote-unquote gods. We're going to have Thanos trying to do whatever he could to get to certain locations and finding the Infinity Stones. So what's going to be interesting about this is I'm pretty certain that most of the Avengers are going to be split off, and some of them having to fight Thanos, while the others are trying to prevent this, you know, gateway from opening up further. So we get to see how Peter Parker's on the bus, everyone is on board, and what's interesting about this is we see how, of course, there's damage and debris happening all over. Tony Stark is noticing this alongside Bruce Banner and, of course, Doctor Strange. And as we transition forward here, this is what's interesting, because originally I thought this was going to be Thanos walking around, but to our surprise, we see someone walking around, and it's Loki, and he looks to have one of the cubes in his hand. And you have to ask yourself as to what is Loki's role going to be in the Avengers Infinity War. Is he going to assist Thanos in giving him the gems? Is he going to turn on the Avengers entirely? Is he going to help them? We don't really know. However, the big baddie comes through the form of a portal-like, you know, dimension-like rip, and there we go. This is such a wonderful shot. I mean, a lot of you guys don't understand how influential and powerful Thanos really is, and I cannot wait. Obviously, he's not wearing his helmet, of course. In the comics, he does. Now, Thanos is going to be a force of nature. Obviously, he arrives. Now, in the background, we don't really know if this is Earth, if this is the planet that we saw prior with Tony Stark on it looking concerned. We don't really know where he's at first. However, he looks to be ready for a fight. So Thanos arrives, and now we have the Iron Suit. Now, this is what's really cool, because this was teased in Homecoming right here. And finally, as we already know, Spider-Man's going to be rocking the Iron Suit. So I can't wait to see, what Spidey does in the form of like rocking this new mechanical suit given to him by Tony. But you can already know it's going to be badass. So we transition here, and it looks like Thor is trying to either seal away the gates or doing something in which it's going to affect the outcome of him meeting the Guardians of the Galaxy, if he hasn't already met them during this point in time. So he's trying to do something to where he's either trying to hold off the ship or simply close the gates. And as we see here, we see how there is an object lunged towards Captain America's direction, and we see how Black Panther is talking about evacuating and getting everyone on board safety. And obviously we have the return of Captain America. I think, honestly, in my opinion, he looks great with the beard. Stick with the beard because I think it suits the character that much more. And now as we transition forward, obviously Scarlet Witch, everyone seems to be concerned. Again, we have Hulkbuster. Now all the way in the background, right, as you guys can see, we don't really know as to where this is. I'm assuming this is going to be the exact location in which Black Panther is going to be taking place. So either way, it looks like possibly the first invasion is going to happen in this specific location here, which I cannot wait to see Hulkbuster return, because we haven't really seen Hulkbuster since the days of Ultron in the Avengers 2. Now, of course, we see Scarlet Witch. She seems to be engaging somebody. It's not really clear as to who. And as we transition here, obviously Doctor Strange, he's in action as well. Now, these objects are coming crashing down from the sky, and we don't really know as to what they are. They're obviously some sort of pillars, and they're probably going to you know, be useful as to like destroying the planet, or perhaps maybe opening up some sort of portal. But either way here, now this is what's interesting. So Captain America, he seems to be a bit damaged, bloody on the lip, and it looks like everyone seems to be fighting off these Arbiter-like creatures from like Halo. It's pretty interesting because this gives off the vibe, to me at least, that this is going to take place, I think, right after the Black Panther film. So as you can see, Black Panther is throwing down with, of course, one of these creatures. I'm trying to show you guys at least a good glimpse of what they look like. So that's what they essentially look like. And what's interesting to note is, again, they resemble that of the Arbiter to me from Halo. So that's what I truly enjoy the most. Now this is what's unique. This is our first shot of Thanos pretty much bodying somebody, and he seems to body Spider-Man. And this is, I mean, look at the size of Thanos' hand, first of all. Thanos' hand is so massive, it's literally engulfing, you know, Spider-Man. Like, he literally has basically his entire neck and chest, you know, in the palm of his hand. So Thanos literally slams Spider-Man into the ground, breaking the entire ground around them, and you can already best assume that Spider-Man isn't going to do anything to be significant enough to Thanos. Now, obviously enough, once again, same planet, background debris. Tony Stark looks to be very, very puzzled, very, very startled, very, very troubled. And as we transition forward from here, this is what's also interesting. Now, obviously there is someone's foot on top of the Vision, and we don't really know as to who they are. They could be the children of Thanos, they could be. And they seem to be gathering the Infinity Stones. Obviously, Vision has one of them, so we can already assume that Vision is going to be one of the early ones to be taken down in this film. So obviously, he's having the stone removed physically and forcefully from his head, and you can only imagine how barbaric that can actually be. And now we have Thanos putting on the stones on the Infinity Gauntlet, which again, he looks amazing. You can see the veins in his arm, the stone drops on the gauntlet, and Thanos in this shot here looks incredibly amazing. I can't wait to see what he has to offer in terms of a character, and from a villain standpoint as to how many characters he destroys. But either way, we see Thanos here, he's, you know, staring upon the glove, and we see Iron Man, he seems to be very shocked, and over here, there he is. So obviously enough, the exact planet as we saw before, Thanos has 2 Infinity Stones on his gauntlet. Of course, I think we need about 3 to 4 more to go. I think it's possibly 3 more to go. But either way, we get to see how he's wielding the stones and the Infinity Gauntlet before, right, of course, punching Iron Man right on down into the dirt. So this is intense because you can see Iron Man, he has his hands up, and to no avail, man. Thanos just raw-handed punching Iron Man on down into the ground, and I think this is inevitable for Iron Man. He's gonna get possibly killed off in this film. We don't really know, but obviously here we have Winter Soldier with the men of Black Panther. Now we can only assume that Black Panther has forgiven Winter Soldier for confusing him for killing his father, because that was the main focus of Civil War. So hopefully enough we get to see more of Winter Soldier and Black Panther in action. Everyone is geared up and ready. Obviously our boy Black Panther is here, and the tribe is ready. The city in the background resembles the exact city in which possibly Thanos invades, so I'm calling it right now, this could be the first location of Armageddon to take place. Now we see here, how this massive army of creatures are just swarming out from like the forest, and of course we see our characters fighting alongside with them and against them, of course. Now, right before we end the shot here, now we see Winter Soldier, Black Widow, Captain America, we have Black Panther, Hulk in the background, we have War Machine flying in the distance, we have several characters together. Now, you can only assume that these are going to be the characters that are going to stick together in this specific location, while Thanos is fighting off possibly the Guardians and Thor somewhere else. But as we transition towards the very end, the Avengers Infinity War, and then finally we have Thor, in which he is asking, who the hell are you? And of course we see them, Drax, we have you know, Star Killer. We have everybody here. And I think, and more notably, look at Groot. Groot looked like he actually grew, so that's pretty cool to see. Either way, guys, the Avengers Infinity War, May 2018. What are your overall thoughts for this movie, guys? What are your overall expectations for this film? Do you guys believe that maybe this might be the movie of the year for 2018? I mean, what are your overall thoughts on not being able to see Thanos crush the moon and throw it at the Avengers as we did during the San Diego Comic-Con trailer? I think, for me at least, this is going to be the culmination of 10 years worth of work, 10 years worth of movies all put into one. Marvel took their time, DC's pretty much rushing, which again, it's going to be their downfall either way. But this trailer gave me goosebumps for the idea that there is so much coming, and the fact that we have to prepare ourselves because Thanos is going to be the be-all end-all for this movie, or at least for this two-part movie. But the question is, what's going to come after him? So post your comments down below, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. If you guys want to see more trailer breakdowns, go ahead and post your comments down below, guys. Tune back in for more, and I'll be seeing you all in the next video. Take it easy, guys. Peace.